So for the past couple of days, I've been playing For Honor on console. Not exclusively on console, but I've been playing on both Xbox and PS4, mainly so that I could attempt to find a Testing Grounds game before it ended, and I wanted to play Testing Grounds so that I could play more Warlord, as believe it or not, that was the hero I had the most fun with out of the three. Out of the three platforms, I didn't find too many games of Testing Grounds though. Both the Duel and Dominion are sitting at low activity, so I guess not too many people care for it anymore, but that's understandable. Anyways, in this video, I just want to take a little bit of time to talk about my experience on console, as I haven't played it seriously since like Marching Fire, and a few of you guys wanted me to talk about the platform, so I figured why not. If I do sound a little different, it's because somehow I'm stuffed up, so bear with me for now. Of course, if you're new here, feel free to sub to the channel. Now let's not waste any more time and get right into it. Alright, so I played on two different setups, one better than the other. I played on a much more standard setup, a large TV, wireless controller on Wi-Fi. Then I played on a setup meant for playing games, a really good monitor, and a wired connection. And of course, they played a little differently. I knew they'd play differently. Neither of them were totally impossible to play on. I wasn't suffering, but the one with the monitor was of course much more enjoyable than the TV setup. Just being plugged in, playing on a gaming monitor, and reducing some of the unnecessary delay made the game much more tolerable to me. It wasn't nearly as smooth as 60 frames or higher, but I could see everything just fine. And after my eyes got used to it, I didn't notice the frame rate that much, and by that I mean I wasn't bothered by it, despite it being much lower. And you know, I really do wish For Honor on console was just better. I really do want For Honor to be as popular as it can be, and I mean the majority of players play on console, whether it be Xbox or PS4. If it were better, I'd probably still be playing on it today, but there's no way to transfer things from one account to another. I wish we didn't even need to talk about it, but it's just the nature of the game and how it plays that just sort of highlights the issues. You're making a lot of decisions in this game and things are getting faster, so you have to make decisions faster, and having noticeable delays, a lower frame rate, delivering less information, and potentially unstable connection depending on whatever's going on is a little annoying. I do want to say that I did prefer a few things on console. The one thing I like about console way more than PC is that I can find games much faster, and I usually fought different opponents every game. Usually, if I want to play against other players consistently, I need to hop on the European servers, and if you've ever done that, you know that your ping will be much higher than usual. Of course, the matchmaking wasn't super consistent. There were a few cases where I'd fight against straight up beginners, but that happens on both platforms anyways. I like being able to find games in like 30 seconds or a minute, rather than waiting 6 to 10 minutes for a Dominion game. I was somehow able to find an elimination game as well, which was fun, as I've only played one game of elimination in a long time, and that was when Jorm was released. I did see more hero variety on console as well, but I think that's mainly because I was fighting different people and because you can get away with a bit more on console than you can on PC. I saw more, say, warlords and peacekeepers, heroes I hardly ever see in a regular old game unless they're really high rep. Play is of course still more aggressive. I land more attacks and attacks land more often on me. But there are still many times where I swear I block something in time just to get hit anyways. This of course leads to me getting smacked by things like a Jorm follow-up bash, but oh well. It's frustrating when something like that happens, mainly because I'm so used to playing on PC, and being able to block something at the very last second is something I've just been accustomed to. When I was playing on the monitor, I was able to deal with just about everything after a few games, unless I was up against the opponents with pretty bad connection. On my TV though, I'd sometimes get caught by some chain lights or something, or get caught by, say, a warlord headbutt, something that's really easy to deal with even if you're half asleep. As I said earlier, I generally didn't have any problems seeing the attacks, especially on the monitor. Some attacks that have pretty subtle animations like Shinobi's Lights would catch me. And if I'm being honest, Raider looks like a damn fool. Zone looks fine, heavies look fine, but once he starts throwing lights or a stunning tap, it just looks really bad. Worse than what I'm used to anyways. The animation quality of For Honor has of course been getting worse as things get faster. That's just going to happen, but I'm still not used to looking at Raider do a full 180 stunning tap on PC, so seeing it on console at a lower frame rate is even worse. I'm used to the attack itself, but the way it looks is just so goofy to me, and I'm sure that I'll never get used to it. I get that balance and whatnot is more important than how a game looks, but I do think that a good looking game does lend to enjoyability in some way. Connection, on the other hand, was all over the place. In my experience, the connection was consistently worse for the most part. In a lot of games, I saw people's connection sitting around 60 to 80, with a few players hopping from 80 to 120, back to 80, things like that. Whereas on PC, I'm used to seeing people sitting around 20 to 40, and that's just to be expected. Most people are playing on Wi-Fi and whatnot on console, while on PC, most people are wired. Not everyone, of course, but generally the setups are wired. And that's not to say that there aren't players who really shouldn't even be able to connect to the servers on PC in general, because there definitely are. There really isn't much you can do about other players' connections though. It's just something you've sort of got to deal with. If you can play wired though, I definitely recommend it. There's no drawback unless you don't want a wire running across your room. I think the first person I ran into on PS4 was a warlord who could bend space and time to land attacks. It was pretty annoying. I wouldn't mind seeing Yubi be a bit more strict when it came to connection, just to make things a bit more enjoyable for players who don't have connection issues. I know that would sort of suck for people who don't have great internet, or live in a household where a ton of people are sharing the Wi-Fi, or people who just live or play in an area where Wi-Fi isn't that great, or even people that play with friends who live overseas. But I genuinely see people sit at like 90 and jump to 200 pretty frequently, and somehow they can stay in the game. I'm not really sure what the solution to this problem will be, because I mean, these players did pay for the game just like everyone else, unless they got it for free, of course. But I think the people who have a consistently bad connection should just be kicked from the match. I know that people do get booted from games for having terrible connection, but sometimes they just don't, and you just sort of have to deal with them until the game's over, because you don't want to get a 15-minute matchmaking penalty. It's even worse when the opponent has like 30 or 40 ping and they just start spazzing out, becoming a true nightmare, to the point where you start to wonder if they're doing it intentionally, which we all know is 100% possible. But that happens on PC too, so I won't harp on that. There are a few little things I'd like to see make their way to console. Of course, these are just quality of life things, and if UB can't do anything to improve the performance of the game, I'd at least like to see UB implement an FOV slider to console. I wouldn't mind seeing text chat too, but I don't mind that. It would actually take forever to type a message out on a controller, and that wouldn't be too great in the middle of a fight. But maybe some more quick chat options to compensate. Maybe allow us to hold another button to get some more text options, things to just relay information quickly. I'd love an FOV slider just so I can see more. One of the first things I noticed was that the camera was really close to your hero on console, and having that camera further away from your hero allows you to see more consistently, and that's really helpful for team fights or even just running around, for seeing what's going on and whatnot. I'm not going to sit here and say that the game is totally unplayable, because I mean, you can play it, but the differences really make me wish console was better for this game, just because of the game itself and how it's played. Yes, I like that I could find games in under a minute, I like the more aggressive play, and I like fighting against a variety of opponents, but everything else is just worse. If you have access to a PC and enjoy For Honor, I don't really see why you'd play on console unless you have a group of friends that you play For Honor with, or unless you're like me and shied away from switching because of the time you sunk into your account. All the emotes, finishers, effects, hero reps, and all of that don't carry over, and that was one big reason I didn't want to switch, because I liked my stuff, and it takes a while to gain steel in this game after you finish your orders. That isn't me being an elitist either, because I actually do buy and play a majority of my games on console, because I like being able to come home, sit back, and play on my TV. But the experience is just less frustrating on PC. Anyways, that's all I've got for this video. I just wanted to take a little bit of time and talk about console, since I haven't really bothered with it for a pretty long time. I think by now we all just sort of know that PC is the way to go with For Honor, but if not, I'd recommend playing on a wired connection, and if you can, play on a monitor. If you don't have access to a monitor, try to see if your TV has a game mode setting to try and make the game a bit more tolerable. Of course, it won't fix everything, but it is better than nothing and will help you cut down on some of the delay from your TV. And hey, if you're already good on For Honor while playing on a large TV and Wi-Fi, then you'll just be a bit better if you switch over. Anyways, I do want to hear what you guys think, so talk to me down in the comments about anything we talked about in this video. And as always, if you like the video, feel free to leave a like and sub if you're new, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.